There is something deeply wrong when a man prays passionately but remains stagnant. There is a contradiction when you fast for days crying worship, yet look around and see no fruits that reflect the hand of God upon your life. Could it be that what you are waiting for is already waiting for you? Could it be that the doors you are knocking on are refusing to open because the version of you standing there is not yet qualified to enter? Listen, life does not respond to desire. Life responds to preparation. It is not enough to dream big. It is not enough to speak in tongues. It is not enough to post scriptures and declare greatness. The real question is, are you working on your life? Every prophecy has a demand. Every destiny has a pattern. Every lifting has a price. And until you take responsibility, you will keep recycling frustration in the name of delay. This is not just about motivation. It is about spiritual intelligence. Because until you become intentional about your own transformation, you will live with potential that never becomes power. It is time to rise. It is time to build. It is time to work on your life. Your life is not an accident. It is a divine project handed to you by the Creator himself. Before your father met your mother, there was already a blueprint in the realm of the Spirit concerning your life. You were designed intentionally. You carry destiny, you carry prophecy, and you carry generations within you. But the tragedy is that many live their entire lives without ever partnering with that divine blueprint. They grow in age but never in purpose. They increase in size but never in stature. They move from year to year celebrating birthdays but never stepping into destiny. Hear me, the greatest tragedy in life is not death, it is to be alive yet useless to your generation. You must come to a point where you understand that your life is a serious assignment, not a social experiment. There is nothing about you that is casual. Your background may be humble, your education may be limited, your connections may be few, but your existence is loaded with intention. You were sent here on assignment. The womb of your mother only served as a passage. You came from the realm of the Spirit. You were sent to this earth to represent heaven's agenda. That means your life must be approached with the seriousness of a soldier. You don't have time to waste in offense, bitterness and careless living. When destiny is calling, distractions become a luxury you can't afford. Many people desire greatness, but they are not willing to take responsibility for the outcome of their lives. They are waiting for a prophet, waiting for a helper, waiting for a miracle service. But hear me, until you rise up and begin to work on your life, nothing will change. No prophecy will replace preparation. No impartation will replace discipline. No laying on of hands will replace the responsibility of aligning with the principles that govern transformation. You can fall under the anointing and rise back into ignorance. You can roll on the floor and stand up into mediocrity. What changes a man is not just spiritual encounters. It is the decision to cooperate with the patterns that lead to destiny. You are a project. Your thoughts, your habits, your associations, your mindset, your decisions, they are all bricks in the construction of your future. If you refuse to work on yourself, your destiny will collapse under the weight of unpreparedness. And when men look for answers, they will pass you by, not because God didn't call you, but because you ignored the responsibility of growth. You must see your life as an unfinished building. Every time you pray, you lay a block. Every time you study, you lay a block. Every time you renew your mind, you lay a block. And if you are consistent, the day will come when that building called your destiny will be completed, and the glory of God will rest upon it. But it starts with accepting that you are a divine project that must be built intentionally. Growth is not a gift, it is a pursuit. Nothing grows automatically except weeds. Everything noble, everything excellent, everything glorious must be cultivated with intention. You don't become a man of stature by accident. You don't rise into greatness by chance. The laws that govern growth are not emotional, they are spiritual. They are exact. They do not respond to tears. They respond to light. There is a way a man must grow if he must become all that God designed him to be. There is a path. There is a system. There is a spiritual architecture that must be followed if growth must be lasting and transformational. It is deception to think that attending meetings, listening to messages, and quoting scriptures alone will translate to growth. Spiritual encounters are powerful, but they must lead to alignment. And alignment is not a feeling. It is not something you stumble into. It is a deliberate decision to lay down your own ideas and take up the way of the Spirit. Many believers are full of desires but empty of strategy. They want to change but they don't want to pay the price. They admire people who carry results, but they are not willing to embrace the process that births those results. And so year after year, they keep recycling the same level of mediocrity, the same spiritual confusion, the same mental limitation. It is not because God is not faithful. It is because growth was never pursued intentionally. There are patterns in the Spirit that produce growth. If you follow them, you will rise. If you ignore them, you will remain small no matter how sincere you are. Sincerity is not a substitute for truth. If a man wants to grow spiritually, he must invest in the discipline of prayer, the discipline of the word, the discipline of meditation. If a man wants to grow mentally, he must submit to knowledge, he must humble himself to learn. Growth is painful, it stretches you, it demands sacrifice, but it is the price for relevance. You cannot skip your way into significance. There is no shortcut to the making of a vessel. When you see men of power, men of wisdom, men of insight, don't just clap for them. Ask what they did with time, with pain, with seasons of silence. Growth requires isolation. Growth demands death to self. Growth insists that you lay down convenience for consecration. Many people abort their process because it does not look glamorous. But the secret place where giants are made is never attractive. It is hidden, it is silent, it is slow, yet it is there that foundations are laid. If you avoid process, you will avoid power. If you avoid discipline, you will avoid destiny. The oil is only poured after obedience. The crown only comes after the cross. If you truly desire to grow, you must embrace the path of intentional transformation. You must be willing to leave comfort and follow truth, even when it hurts. What you do not confront will eventually conquer you. What you do not correct will soon corrupt everything you are building. Life was never designed to adjust itself for your convenience. It takes deliberate engagement, accurate discernment, and courage to look into the mirror of your destiny and ask yourself hard questions. There are weaknesses you are tolerating now that will destroy the harvest you are praying for. There are habits you are excusing now that will become thorns in your tomorrow. And the tragedy is, many people have learned how to decorate dysfunction. They have found religious explanations for failure. They have surrounded themselves with comforters who pet their carnality instead of mentors who challenge their growth. Hear me, there are consequences to negligence. Some things don't go away because you prayed, they go away because you changed. You can fast for 40 days and yet remain bound to the same emotional cycles if you refuse to confront the real issues in your soul. You can give, serve, sing and shout and yet still self-sabotage every opportunity for greatness. Not because God didn't answer, but because you didn't adjust. Transformation is not magic, it is warfare. It is a confrontation with self. The part of you that enjoys convenience must die. The version of you that loves comfort must be crucified. Because if you don't fix it now, life will magnify it later. The danger of delay is that what starts as a private struggle can grow into a public disaster. The seed of inconsistency you excuse today can become the reason you lose destiny tomorrow. That little pride you refuse to deal with now can cost you relationships, honor and mantles in the future. That small dishonesty, that laziness, that lack of discipline in study, in prayer, in thought, it may look harmless now, but it is feeding on your potential. Everything you refuse to work on will grow with you and eventually fight you when the spotlight comes. When platforms arrive, when influence comes, when people begin to look up to you, your negligence will show up uninvited. And this is why the season of preparation is a gift. That hidden season is not punishment, it is preservation. It is God giving you time to fix what men cannot see yet. Because once your name begins to echo, you will no longer have the luxury to be weak in private. If you do not fix your character now, it will embarrass your anointing later. If you do not deal with the envy now, it will choke your relationships when influence comes. If you do not master your appetites now, they will drag you down when visibility lifts you up. It is dangerous to cry for speed when you are not ready for the weight that comes with it. What you don't fix will eventually fail. And when it fails, it may not just cost you, you may carry others down with you. Fix it now, address it now, confront it now, heal it now.
Your destiny is not in the hands of time, it is hidden in your daily habits. The future you are praying for is not a mystery. It is the harvest of everything you are doing today. Many people desire the throne, but they ignore the pathway. They speak of nations, but they dishonor the process. They admire the glory, but they despise the systems that sustain it. Hear me, destiny does not respond to wishes. It responds to discipline. It responds to alignment. It responds to consistency. Every day is a prophetic opportunity to move closer to who God designed you to be. Every morning is a door. Every hour is a seed. What you do with them determines who you become. You do not become great in a day. Greatness is not an event. It is not something that happens when hands are laid on you or when men begin to applaud you. Greatness is the accumulated reward of small, unseen decisions done repeatedly and faithfully. You wake up and choose prayer when your flesh wants sleep. You sit down to study when your mind wants distraction. You honor people even when your ego wants to rebel. You choose excellence when mediocrity is more convenient. These are the habits that shape greatness. These are the actions that provoke prophecy to manifest. Many believers are praying for seasons they are not preparing for. They are asking God to open doors they are not trained to walk through. God is merciful, but He is also just. He cannot give you a platform that your discipline cannot sustain. He cannot give you influence that your maturity cannot handle. So He watches your habits. He watches your routines. He watches your secret life. Because what you do consistently reveals who you truly truly are. You may speak in tongues, shout in church, and cry during worship, but if your habits contradict your praise, your future will reflect your habits, not your desires. There are no miracles for laziness. There is no impartation for irresponsibility. No matter how anointed you are, if you keep sowing carelessness, you will reap decline. If you keep feeding on distraction, you will harvest regret. If you keep violating the principles of growth, you will remain at the mercy of those who paid the price to rise. The law is clear. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. That means your life right now is a reflection of seeds you have been sowing, knowingly or unknowingly. So the real question is not where am I going? It is what am I doing every day? Because your habits are the prophets of your future. If you keep wasting time, you are delaying prophecy. If you keep postponing responsibility, you are postponing manifestation. Don't just dream big, live disciplined. Don't just talk vision, live sacrifice. Because one day, your habits will testify either for you or against you. Destiny is not far, it is here, waiting for your consistency. No one celebrates a foundation. Men celebrate buildings. No one invests in potential that remains raw. People are drawn to value that has been refined. The tragedy of our generation is that we have confused visibility with value, popularity with productivity. You can be known and still be empty. You can be followed and still be hollow. Until you work on your life, until you refine what God placed inside you, you will remain ignored by the systems you are praying to influence. Favor may open a door, but it is value that keeps the door open. Connections may bring you before kings, but it is competence that keeps you there. There are many praying for platforms who have not developed their message. Many want to be heard, but have nothing to say. They desire recognition, but have not taken time to master their assignment. You must understand that greatness does not come to those who wish for it. It comes to those who prepare for it. The world is tired of noise. The world is tired of titles. The world is looking for solutions. If your life cannot solve a problem, you will remain a spectator in the arena of destiny. And nobody rewards spectators. There are skills that must be sharpened. There is knowledge that must be acquired. There is excellence that must be embraced. You cannot keep living on the excuse of God will do it. God already did his part by placing potential within you. Now he is waiting for your intentional development. Your generation will not wait forever. Opportunities do not always come twice. When they come, they are looking for men who have paid the price in the secret place, not just in prayer, but in preparation. Have you built stamina? Have you mastered your gift? Have you studied the principles that govern relevance in your field? People are not wicked. They are just programmed to ignore mediocrity. Even those who love you will not recommend you if you are not ready. Your potential may inspire them, but it will not be enough to convince them. You must become the proof of your message. You must become the evidence of your convictions. You must grow until your results speak louder than your voice. When men begin to see transformation, they will ask for your secret. And that secret is not magic. It is labor in the place of personal development. You cannot expect people to believe in you when you have abandoned yourself. The oil will not flow on an empty vessel. The fire will not fall on a lazy altar. The increase you desire will not come to an unprepared ground. So rise and build. Rise and read. Rise and practice. Rise and sharpen. You must invest in becoming the kind of man that your generation cannot ignore. You must become a solution that compels kings to seek your counsel. Work on yourself until your value becomes undeniable. Because no one invests in a life that has refused to grow. There is a deception that has crept into the body of Christ. One that teaches that prayer alone will solve everything. That if you fast long enough, doors will open without preparation. That if you cry loud enough in worship, ignorance will be replaced with wisdom. Hear me, prayer is powerful, but prayer was never designed to replace responsibility. The secret of stature is not just found in the place of prayer. It is found in the marriage between the spirit and the mind. If all you do is pray without engaging your mind, you will be spiritual but irrelevant. You will be anointed yet ineffective. You will have encounters yet no expression of that glory in the systems of men. The church must arise to understand that dominion is dual. It is spiritual, but it is also intellectual. God does not use the mind as a substitute for the spirit, and he does not use the spirit as a substitute for the mind. He uses both. That is why he gave you both. Many believers have trained their spirits in the place of prayer, but have left their minds barren, untrained and outdated. And so while they carry oil, they cannot interpret seasons. While they have passion, they cannot provide solutions. And this is why we shout in church yet remain beggars before kings, because we do not understand how to translate spiritual power into relevance and influence. There are men who spend hours speaking in tongues but cannot manage relationships. They can prophesy to nations but cannot lead two people. They have visions but no strategy. They have fire but no structure. So their lives become like flames, bright for a moment and gone. It is not because God lied. It is because they ignored the other half of the system. They despised growth. They rejected knowledge. They avoided learning. And when life demanded excellence, they had none to offer. You must rise beyond emotional Christianity. You must be both spiritual and intelligent. You must be both prayerful and skillful. You must carry power and structure. It is in this balance that dominion is established. Even Jesus, full of the Spirit, still sat to learn. He still asked questions. He still studied, because he understood that to speak to men, you must carry more than fire. You must carry wisdom. To influence systems, you must understand their language. You cannot enter the gates of government just speaking mysteries. You must interpret dreams like Joseph. You must solve economic problems like Daniel. You must build systems like Moses. Prayer gives you access, but it is knowledge that gives you space. Prayer opens the heavens, but understanding establishes you on the earth. If all you have is fire without wisdom, your life will be like a burning bush, drawing attention but producing no transformation. But when your spirit is alive and your mind is renewed, you become an instrument that heaven can trust and earth cannot resist. That is the version of you that creation is waiting for. Beloved, your life is your greatest assignment. It is the first platform God gave you to steward. Before nations listen to you, before doors open to you, before mantles rest upon you, you must rise and take responsibility for your own growth. You must work on your life with intention, with discipline, and with vision. Stop outsourcing your transformation. Stop blaming systems. Stop waiting for luck. Destiny does not respond to laziness. Greatness does not answer to excuses. If you will kneel before God in surrender, rise with the mind of a warrior, and walk in obedience to truth, you will become a wonder to your generation. Fix what must be fixed, break what must be broken, build what must be built, and grow until your life becomes a mirror of God's glory. Because the world will not bow to your potential, it will bow to your results. And results come when men decide to work on their lives. May the grace to rise, the courage to grow, and the discipline to build rest upon you from today. May your life become a testimony of wisdom, power and relevance. As you walk this journey, may favor go before you, may strength be renewed within you, and may doors open that no man can shut. Go and shine, go and build, go and become. Thank you for listening. God bless you richly.